Welcome to Leading Life. I am so incredibly glad you're hanging out with us today. Look, if you're out there trying to juggle studying, a job, personal goals, relationships, and, well, just keeping up with everyday life, you already know exactly what overwhelmed feels like. You probably have, 5 tabs open right now, a looming deadline, and let's be totally honest here, you might even be watching this explainer to procrastinate on some actual work. Well, today we're diving into how to build better habits, but here's the catch. We're going to do it without adding a single drop of extra pressure to your already crazy schedule. We're pulling the absolute best, most practical insights from 7 amazing books on habits and time management and turning them into a real-life survival guide. So let's jump right in. I really want you to hear this. Most of us do not struggle with habits because we don't know what we're supposed to do. You know you should study earlier, right? You know you should sleep more or focus better. We struggle because the system around the habit just isn't working. Relying purely on discipline, it's a total myth, and honestly, it is exhausting. So, if you keep failing to stick to a routine, it's usually a broken system to blame, not your lack of willpower. Think about it like this. Habits are not some moral test of your personal willpower. They're actually neurological systems. Relying on shared discipline is basically like pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill. You are constantly fighting against yourself. But when you actively design a system, it's like tipping the hill downward. You're setting up your environment so that the right choice is naturally the easiest choice. These habits dictate your time, your energy, and your confidence. So we really need to stop agonizing over our lack of discipline and start designing smarter systems. Okay, let's dig into our first 2 sources, Atomic Habits by James Clear and The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Every single automatic thing you do follows a specific loop in your brain. There's a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. This cycle is literally running in the background every waking moment. Your brain is just constantly scanning the room, predicting what's next, trying out a response, and then learning from whatever reward it gets. So, grabbing a practical tool straight from The Power of Habit, the very first thing you can do today is ask yourself, what is the actual trigger and what is the reward behind my bad habit? Like, if you constantly reach for your phone to doom scroll on TikTok when you should be studying, what's the cue? Is it just a feeling of boredom, stress? And what's the reward? A quick hit of relief? You have to pinpoint that specific trigger and that emotional payoff before you can ever hope to rewire it. And once you understand that hidden loop, you can actually change it. To build a great habit, you redesign your system using 4 laws from Atomic Habits. You make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. But the absolute game changer here is step 3. Make it incredibly easy to start. You want zero friction. Charles Duhigg actually slept in his gym clothes, so waking up and working out was practically effortless. Scale your habits way, way down. Don't commit to studying for 3 grueling hours. Just commit to opening your textbook and reading 1 single paragraph. Make it stupidly easy to start. But hey, you obviously can't build habits for absolutely everything in your life. Shifting over to how we choose our priorities, the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown introduces a massive mindset shift. A non-essentialist tries to cram everything in, thinking everything is important. They just say yes to whatever feels pressing in the moment. An essentialist, though, they think almost everything is non-essential. They aggressively filter out the trivial noise to find what truly matters. It's the relentless pursuit of less, but better. Just imagine your energy is being pulled in a million different directions. You end up making like a millimeter of progress on 50 different tasks, which leaves you completely drained and totally unfulfilled. Essentialism is about focusing that exact same amount of energy into 1 or 2 meaningful directions. So your tool here, look at your life today and cut out just one thing that doesn't align with the season of life you're in right now. Remember, you can do anything, but you absolutely cannot do everything. And that thought connects perfectly to our next source, Stephen R. Covey's classic, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Covey teaches us that being truly effective means you have to be proactive. You have to begin with the end in mind. It is so incredibly easy to get swept up in the frantic busyness of life, working yourself to the bone, only to realize you've been climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. We have got to put first things first. Which brings us to the ultimate question. What actually matters most? Before you fill up your schedule, before your week completely spirals out of control, before you answer that very first email or automatically say yes to a coffee date, use this concept to deliberately pick your true priorities. Do not just react to whatever feels urgent right now. Decide where you want to end up and build your daily habits around getting there. Okay, but what happens when you've nailed down your priorities, but you still have 1,000 random tasks swimming around in your head? Enter David Allen's Getting Things Done. This explainer wouldn't be complete without it. The key here is getting mental clutter out of your brain and into a trusted external system. You collect every little thing grabbing your attention, process it, organize it, review it, and then do it. As Allen brilliantly puts it, your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. Write it down, organize it, and give your mind permission to relax. All right, so your external system is neat and tidy. Now you actually have to sit down and do the hard stuff. This is where Cal Newport's deep work comes in. Deep work is all about professional activities performed in a state of totally distraction-free concentration. We know from modern neuroscience that reaching peak performance means you have to actively protect your brain from superficial distractions. If you're just relying on willpower to ignore your buzzing phone, yeah, you're gonna fail. You need a dedicated routine. So let's make this actionable. Take out your calendar right now or as soon as this is over and carve out 1 non-negotiable, distraction-free time block for your absolute hardest task. It doesn't have to be an all-day thing. It could literally be just 1 hour where your phone is locked in another room, all your desktop notifications are off, and you are dialed in. Protect this block of time fiercely. And to bring it home, we look at Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. He shares this fantastic quote from Goti: "The things that matter most must never be at the mercy of the things that matter least." You know, time is going to pass anyway. The only question is how we use it. Tracy's whole philosophy is that we have to build the habit of tackling our biggest, most difficult task, our metaphorical frog, first thing in the day before anything else can mess us up. So the practical tool you can deploy tomorrow morning is to simply choose your frog. Look at your nicely organized list, find that one vital task that will actually move the needle on your work or studies, and do it first. Tackle it before you even dare to open your inbox, before those social media alerts start popping off, and before the day inevitably gets away from you. Just eat the frog. So, when we step back and look at all of this together, it forms this amazing cohesive toolkit divided into 3 simple phases. First, we build, using Atomic Habits and Power of Habit to map our triggers and create frictionless routines. Second, we choose, using the 7 habits and essentialism to cut through the noise and find what matters. And third, we execute, using getting things done, deep work, and eat that frog to organize our lives, fiercely protect our focus, and crush the hardest things first. It's a complete roadmap. All right, the habit reset, a simple exercise to redesign your system. It is time to actually put all of this into practice. Seriously, feel free to pause the explainer right here if you want to grab a pen and some paper. This is specifically designed to help you fix whatever broken system is currently draining your precious energy. Step 1. Ask yourself some hard diagnostic questions. What specific habit is currently hurting your time or energy? What is the actual trigger setting it off? Is it a specific time of day, a location, a stressful emotion? What reward is your brain secretly chasing? And zooming out, what larger goal is this bad habit getting in the way of? Answering these helps you expose that broken loop so you understand exactly why your brain keeps running back to this unhelpful behavior. Next up, shift into system design mode. Ask yourself, what is the absolute smallest, tiniest, better habit I could start right now? Remember that 2-minute rule? Then ask, how can I make doing this obvious, easy, and satisfying? And finally, let's filter out the noise. What is one single thing I need to remove, reduce, or protect in my environment to guarantee this happens? Outline your tiny positive step and clear the roadblocks out of your way. And please, if you take nothing else away from this, remember this. You do not need to become a completely different person overnight. Seriously, you do not need a flawlessly perfect, rigid life system by tomorrow morning. Trying to do that just creates more pressure, which is exactly the opposite of what we want. True, lasting change is just about making small, very sustainable shifts in your everyday choices and your environment. Start by just redesigning one tiny routine, protect one single block of focus time on your calendar, and take just one next step on your most important task. This is all part of leading life, where we break down psychology, finances, AI, habits, studying, and life in a totally practical, no-nonsense way. Look, the time is going to pass anyway, so what is the one essential step you're going to take today to design a better system for your future self? Go take that step today. See you next time.